the channel and welcome to our review of the EDOU 18-inch surface cleaner.
Sorry, what exactly do I owe you?
No, Keith, not IOU. It's an EDOU surface cleaner. EDOU is the brand.
Oh God, this branding. It's so obviously bad. Let me guess. This is one of those things that you might find typically on Amazon, for example, that is, you can find 30 different brands of the exact same thing, but they all have different brand names, but they're all the exact same thing coming out of the exact same factory. Am I right? Is that what this is?
Yeah, it definitely is that case.
Yeah, I knew it. But to be fair, we actually have had some luck in the past with those types of products. My favorite of all time was the Vastfafa. What a great name. Vastfafa. I'll never forget it. It's so awesome. Vastfafa.
Keith?
Vastfafa.
Keith? Hey, we have a review to do, remember?
Yeah, sorry. I was just getting carried away.
No problem, just as long as you're done now.
Yeah, I'm done. Oh, wait, one more. Vastfafa!
Keith!
All right. I'm done. I'm really done. So let's get down and dirty with this surface cleaner, shall we? See what I did?
I did indeed. And so if you're quite done, let's go ahead and talk about this surface cleaner. Now, we use this in conjunction with the pressure washer, and some notes about what your pressure washer needs to be capable of doing. It has to have a minimum of 2,000 psi it's able to produce, and it has a maximum capability of handling a pressure washer that can produce 4,000 psi.
Okay, well, let me guess here. We'll be using this surface cleaner with the Greenworks 2300 psi unit that we showed off during the Car Care Tech Week that we did on the Dad's Talk Tech channel. Links included below, right, Bruce?
Spot on, Keith. So we're going to be using this unit in 3 distinct areas that I leveraged the unit to clean. So the first is going to be on the back deck. The second is going to be the concrete driveway. And the third is going to be on our concrete front stoop, where my wife left a plant out there too late into the season, and it died the concrete.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. That must have been some funky plant. So to summarize here, we're going to start with the back deck, which, as memory serves, is a composite deck, right? It's a composite. I guess it used to be real wood. And I guess if our viewers, are using this on a real wood deck, you probably want to leverage the lower pressure settings on your pressure washer, just to avoid any potential gouging issues that can happen with wood. And then for your driveway, you're going to be dealing with kind of normal grime that typically gets on driveways. And then we have this bonus round. It's almost like after you're done with Glass Joe, what is it, the boss level? Whatever this plant did to your stoop, that's going to be the ultimate test.
Nice summary. So before we jump into the video itself, let's spend just a little bit of time talking about how this device actually works.
Good idea. So best to get the lay of the land here first. So from the photos, the device looks to have casters, 4 of them. And I have to say I like that idea. I've seen devices like this that don't have any casters or any wheels, basically like a hovercraft, right? And I don't like that idea, not from experience, but more from an intuitive perspective, right? As well, I have seen devices with 3 caster wheels, and I probably prefer the potential increase in stability that you do get with 4/3.
Honestly, Keith, it is the perceived stability that kind of drew me towards the 4-wheel models versus the 3. I just liked the idea that it potentially is going to be more stable. Now, for some people, maybe the extra size that 4th caster, throws on the device might make it a little bit more challenging to use in smaller spaces. But for me, I personally, I like the trade-off.
Yeah, and stability aside, I also like the idea that the wheels would kind of force a kind of uniform distance away from the pavement or the surface that you're cleaning, right? So that you get a more consistent clean. You don't, anyway. The thing that I'm worried about right now that I'm thinking about it, is I'm curious about the reach. Specifically, I'm thinking about my back. As I visualize using this thing, I'm just curious if I will be able to stand up normally and, you know, push this thing around and reach all the crevices and corners of a deck that I want to without having to bend over a lot, if that makes sense. I'm very sensitive to this type of thing.
Oh, that's a great question, Keith. So the unit does come with two quick connect 15-inch long rods that then also quick connect to your normal pressure washer handle. So that should be, for most people, plenty of reach to not have to bend over. You can, you know, stand up straight. And quite honestly, you know, from a moving this around perspective, because of the casters, they move very freely. There's basically no real effort that goes into, you know, keeping this moving, right? It moves very freely. You don't have a lot of weight behind it, so it's very easy to move around. As for the actual cleaning itself, underneath, and I can also bring up a photo of this so you can see it and visualize it better, but underneath there's a bar or an arm that is responsible for spinning around, and on both ends of the arm are spray nozzles that the water comes out of, and it's the angle that those spray nozzles make in the unit that basically drive that arm to spin in a circle. And that's also, you know, part of what gives you that real consistent cleaning action. Is it's basically within that disc, it is cleaning all of that surface that it can reach.
Yeah, cool. And speaking of those sprayer arms and those tips, from what we were talking about before, the package comes with a couple of extra replacement tips, which is cool. And also that there are some kind of a mesh filter or a strainer that is in line with those quick connects, which seems like also a nice feature.
Yes, all of that is correct, Keith. And just a bit of maybe a public service announcement here. So if you happen to have like some broken concrete or, you know, wood chips or, you know, just some heavier debris that happens to be on the surface that you plan on cleaning, I would maybe dig out the leaf blower and, you know, blow that material off of it, just so that when you go to use the pressure washer, the surface cleaner itself on there, that those items aren't kicked around, and one of a couple things happens. One, potentially damaging the unit itself, right? So that is high pressure, and so, you know, if it hits a chunk of concrete, it could end up damaging the arm or even the the dome portion of it itself. Could potentially maybe even kick that out and hit somebody or something. That seems less likely with the little brushes on the bottom that it has, but, you know, safety first.
Okay, yeah, that does sound like an important safety tip. So let's watch some video of this thing in action.
Okay, so here is the video of the deck first. Now, one thing that I've noticed when you compare the surface cleaner to, you know, just using, say, the wand with really any type of tip, right? It doesn't matter how wide a spray you pick. What I find is it's very difficult to get an even cleaning pattern, right? So no matter how hard you try, it just seems like areas get more of the water, taking the dirt and debris off of the material, off of the surface, and other areas don't get as cleaned as well. And so you end up with this streaking where there's still some remaining dirt, and then you've got clean spots mixed in. It just this solves that problem. It is a very consistent cleaning pattern because of the fact that arm is spinning around in a circle and everything in that radius gets cleaned.
Yeah, I kind of recall that when we were spraying the driveway with your regular power washer head, that it was a kind of a pain in the ass, that you would get streaks, of course, and you would have to go over the same area over and over again a lot, and like you would never get the streaks gone, almost never. So yeah, I like this. I like this idea that this architecture and setup of this particular cleaner head allows you to get a really even distributed clean.
Yeah, it's for that very reason that I wanted to get a surface cleaner, Keith. Let's face it, right tool for the right job.
Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of this video of the unit in action on the driveway. So one thing I am noticing here on the driveway is that the dirty water, it seems to get kind of plowed or pushed around, right? And it kind of makes a wavefront of dirty water. And it's kind of one of the nice things, I guess, about doing the deck versus the driveway is that with the deck, you have all of these gaps between the boards and the dirty water just kind of, I don't know, goes away. But on the driveway, you're definitely plowing it around. It's interesting.
Exactly, Keith. So, I mean, you can almost think of it as like, sweeping that dirty water like you would sweep, dust. You have to keep pushing that around, and basically you have to move that dirty water over towards the boundaries, whether that's in the grass or whatever area you can get that away from your concrete. Maybe you just push it all towards the street, and then the street could just be dirty and you don't care. But basically you've almost kind of herd that dirty water to someplace else. Otherwise, if you let that water pool or you leave it on the driveway, what's going to happen is that water is going to evaporate and it's going to leave the dirt behind, at least on a portion of the part that you've already cleaned.
Yeah, and I can imagine, I'm thinking about your monster driveway. That's a monster. I mean, I'm thinking about my driveway. I've got a pretty big driveway, I think, but yours is even bigger. I suppose it is a challenge, right? But if you're dealing with normal sidewalks or normal driveways, it shouldn't be a big deal at all. Speaking of challenges, let's talk about this front stoop.
Okay, yes, let's go ahead and jump into that video. Might as well jump. I knew going into this that this stoop was going to be a problem. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is concrete is actually quite porous and stains pretty easily. As a matter of fact, sometimes those stains get embedded to the point where you just aren't going to be able to get them out. Now, one of the things that we're going to do is bring in a secret weapon cleaning product that hopefully in the not too distant future we will actually have a review for as well.
Yeah, definitely. I can tell that it's better, but not quite exactly gone, right? And I think you knew this up front, that this would be the big challenge.
For sure, Keith. Now, this video was shot in the late fall, and so the combination of the surface cleaner and our top secret cleaning product definitely made it better. Now that it's spring or near spring here in Nebraska, it's definitely looking better. So I kind of had some help from Mother Nature doing its thing over the course of winter, but it's still slightly there, but not completely gone.
Yeah, so I think one of the important lessons to take away here is to have the proper expectations for what you're doing, right? That's the lesson. Lower your expectations, people. Lower expectations. It's a recipe for happiness. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to use, in your situation, you're going to use this on stains that have literally sat on the concrete for a long time or have penetrated into the surface of the concrete, well, it may not be perfect.
So after having this unit for a while and using it in several places, I can say that with the amount of spaces that I have where I can use this unit, it has been completely worth the purchase for me.
Okay, so if you don't have a humongous deck and a humongous driveway, you have a smaller set of use cases for this. Would it still make sense, you think, to maybe buy a smaller unit, maybe one that still has 4 wheels?
I would say so. Obviously, if you've got a decent amount of space to work with, but not something crazy, a smaller unit may be the more economical way to go. Speaking of economics on this, I right now at least comparatively got quite the steal. I only paid like $80 some for this unit. And currently the 18-inch unit is not available. They have one they're calling a 17-inch, which actually I think is like 16.8. And it's over 2 times more expensive than what the 18-inch unit was. They also have a 20-inch unit that they did sell at the time that I bought my 18. That's even more expensive, like 2.5 times more expensive. It's like $225. So I don't know if this is like a temporary supply chain or something issue that's going on, because it just seems crazy that something I purchased towards the end of summer is now that much more expensive. So hopefully, Amazon, that all kind of settles down a little bit. I'll put links to the current models, but there's a lot of different size units. You can get 15-inch, 14. I think they even make 12 and 13s that are available. But I think they have relatively the same features. For small areas, something smaller might be good. For a larger area, I've been completely happy with what I purchased.
Okay, well, that sounds pretty close to a recommendation. That sounds like a Dad's Talk Tech seal of approval type of thing. So let's say that. And you're still here. We haven't mentioned it yet. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like thingy, hit the bell, ring the bell thingy, do all that kind of stuff. And for Keith and Bruce, you'll see us the next time on the next episode of Dad's Talk Tech.